I don't know if you heard it or if you're aware of what's happening in Congo, but through this video, I'm going to talk about the current situation, the current critical situation in Congo. For those who watched the previous video that I uploaded on my YouTube channel, at the end of the video, I highlighted the fact that I'm going to talk about this topic in the next video. And that's what I'm going to do through this video. So if that's something that really interests you, then stay tuned. Hello guys, welcome to Let's Grow Together Afro. My name is David Bisimu Murabazi. On this channel, we share topics related to personal growth, culture growth, as well as business related topics. So if there's something that interests you, and then you can be certain that you're on the right channel. So as I stated in the introduction of this video, I'm going to talk about the current situation in Congo. And you might be wondering, why am I talking about this on this channel when in most cases, I always talk about things related to personal growth, right? And don't forget, first of all, that I also cover culture-related topics. And through this video, I'm also going to share a bit of cultural background content, okay? But there are three other reasons why I really want to talk about this. Just to go through it very fast. The first reason is, first of all, because I think this is a topic that concerns everybody, or at least every smartphone, telephone users, in the sense of for the production of the battery for the telephone that we use, there is one natural resource that is needed to produce the battery, and that natural resource is called cobalt. Cobalt actually is produced mainly in Congo, but not only in Congo. Basically, Congo is the first world producer of cobalt, and it produces up to more than 70% of the world cobalt production. In other words, out of 5 smartphone users, 4 of those smartphone users have a natural resource, a natural mineral resource that comes from Congo. And I think, at least in respect of this, it wouldn't be that bad if you were at least to get a bit interested in getting to know what's happening in that region of the world. The second reason why I think it's very important is basically for, those who are Africans. Congo, the development of Congo, could be a game changer for the African continent, in the sense of when you look only at the various natural resources. I'm not going to mention all of them. Okay, just the third reason why I find relevant to talk about this topic is because I'm a Congolese. I come from Congo, to be specific, from the Democratic Republic of Congo. And as a Congolese, I feel obliged to talk about the current situation in Congo. I can't keep quiet watching what's happening there, despite the fact that I don't have a huge public. But at least the few people who are going to watch this video will at least have a more in-depth understanding of what's happening in Congo. I have to mention that I don't have much time, and that's why I have to go a bit faster, okay, when it comes to this topic. But of course, if you will be interested in really having more detail of what's happening in there, just let me know in the comment section below, okay? So now the big question you're probably asking yourself is, what is happening in Congo? I heard everything you mentioned there, but what's really happening there, okay? I'm going to do that, but before that, I'm going to kindly ask you to like this video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and activate the notification bell to not miss out any of our upcoming videos. So if you've done that, let's dive into it, okay? So in terms of what's happening in Congo, basically for the past 3 years, there have been an ongoing war in the east part of Congo. This Congo basically is being manipulated by a movement of rebellion, or a rebellious movement known as the M23. But in reality, this isn't really the big player or the big crisis creator, okay? Crisis creator in that region. There are multiple big players in what's happening there. And Rwanda appears to be the country attacking Congo, but under the image of the M23. I'm going to talk about this a bit further, okay, throughout the video later, okay? But the reason why I think it's more critical not to talk about it even is the fact that the M23, or the Rwandese military, took over one of the biggest cities in Congo, known as Goma, which is one of the eastern part of Congo cities, okay? And they're now moving toward another city. They're already in the municipality of that city. Basically, they're already in another province of the east part of Congo, known as Sud Kivu or South Kivu, okay? They're moving toward the city of that province, known as Bukavu. So things are getting actually quite critical. things are getting bad. Okay, and that's why I would like to talk about this, at least for people to really know and understand what's happening there. So the main question you're probably asking yourself now is, who are the M23? Because you mentioned them many times. Basically, to give you an idea of who are the M23 or their origin, basically they originated from 1998. Okay, this was when one of the previous the previous president of the Democratic Republic of Congo, known as Desire Kabila or Laurent Kabila, wanted to take over the seats against Mobutu Sese Seko, who was actually the president of Congo back then. He stayed in power for more than 30 years. And in order to do that, actually, he had to call for help from some of his allies, okay? And in this case, he went to Uganda and to Rwanda, and he used some of these countries' forces based on some agreement that they had, okay? And from there on, because they had some agreement that were not respected, this generated conflict, and that conflict created groups, military groups within the region. And M23 is the most known, which has created one of the biggest crises and population migration within that region. Basically, there are multiple things that they wanted. First of all, they wanted to have a part to play in the Congolese government. So in terms of politics decisions, they really wanted to be involved. Secondly, they wanted to have a part in the Congolese natural resources. Okay. And thirdly, they wanted some of their citizens to become Congolese citizens. In other words, they wanted a part of Congo as well. Okay. So they want a lot. And when Mose Kabila was on the seat, okay, he realized actually that these allies that he had back then were kind of betraying him, and they were going beyond his back, okay, doing some things, weird stuff beyond his back, and they ended up becoming a threat to him. So he had to kick them out. But of course, they didn't accept, and that generated a war, okay? The Second Congolese War, how it's called. It's also known as the African War. Why is it known as the African War? Because actually, this war involved 9 countries in Africa, and among those 9 countries, there were some allies and enemies. Enemies in this case is Congo and is Rwanda and Uganda. And as of allies, there were many allies involved. There was Tanzania, there was Burundi, there was Namibia, and many others within the eastern part of Africa. Okay, there was Angola as well. So there were many countries involved during this war, and for that reason, it's called the African War. Okay, through the war, that's created a lot of migration within that region, a lot of people. So far, millions of people died from the war, okay? Numbers are only estimative, they're only approximate number, but it's not really exact numbers, but we're talking about millions. I'm going to give the exact or the approximate number on the screen for you to have an idea, okay? So now what happened there is that Mose Kabila got killed in 2001, okay? And afterwards, and of course, it was killed because of some implications of some of those rebellions in the government, some conspiracy, and then, yeah, he ended up getting killed. And in 2003, when his son took over the president's seat, they had an agreement with the rebellious military. In this case, it was already called, it was kind of the M23, but under a different name back then, okay? There was an agreement, and from there on, there was a bit of peace in the region, okay? However, the story doesn't really end there, because later on you'll see, if you were to do some research, you realize that the M23 attacked again in 2012, where they got defeated with the help of most of the Tanzanian militaries as well as Burundi's militaries and other nearby countries that assisted Congo, and mostly South Africa, that has to be mentioned. Okay, so it has been in support of Congo throughout the war against these rebellious parties, or to be specific, the Rwandese military or the Rwandese government, which is attacking Congo. Okay? Basically, it's all a matter of leaders. Okay? The leader, who is Kagame, basically has been somebody who has been involved into a lot of rebellious activities since he has been on seat. Okay, so first of all, from the genocide, if you heard about the Rwandese genocide where he was involved, and he always believes, based on the agreement that they had with Laurent Desire Kabila, but also in the past he has stated several times that before colonial time, a part of Congo belonged to Rwanda. So basically, he believes that Congo as a whole shouldn't be the way it is, but a part of it should go to Rwanda. So that one of the things. So he's somebody who wants trouble. Okay, somebody who has been involved into rebellious stuff, and that urge for him to keep on doing that, I think, is one of the things that really moves him. Okay, that one of the things. Okay, but is it really Rwanda, or is it really the M23 who is the main player of whatever's happening there? I doubt. Not I doubt, but it isn't. Why am I saying that? First of all, speaking of the M23 themselves. So we can't say that the M23 movement, which is the rebellious movement, which is actually playing or creating the cries that can be seen in that part of the country. Why am I saying that? Because late January, when they wanted to invade Goma, which is the city that has been taken by these rebellious forces, they were cycled by the Congolese government. Okay, the Congolese military. They were cycled, and then after few days, okay, of constant fight and severe fights, the Rwandese sent between 10,000 and 12,000 military forces to go and support these rebellious militaries within that region. And that allowed them to take over the city on the 25th of January 2025. So it's very recent things, okay? So basically, that already shows that the M23 are not the only one working there, okay, or doing whatever is happening there, but the Rwandese military is extremely involved. But what they're trying to do here is to Congolize the war. Okay, in other words, because that's my own creation, in other words, basically they want to portray this war as if it was a Congolese war, when in reality it isn't. Why am I saying that? Because when you look at the person who is being put forward as the leader of this movement, also known as Corneille Nanga, okay, basically that guy is he's the leader of the Alliance Fleuve Congo. He has a long history in the Congolese government. He's a Congolese of origin. However, he just a tool which is being used by the Rwandese government, to cover his face behind the whole movement and the whole disaster that he's creating through his military. I don't know if I should really talk this in depth about this topic, but just to give you a bit of an information of what's happening there. So the thing is, this Corneille Nanga is in collaboration or has as allies the M23. Okay, so the AFC, which is the Alliance Fleuve Congo. Okay, it's a French calling. Okay, French name. Alliance Fleuve Congo is collaborating with the M23, which has been terrorizing, terrifying people within the eastern region of Congo. Why is the international community silent about this topic? Because you probably didn't hear about this. Basically, the reason why they're being silent or they're not doing anything like sanctioning Rwanda, because it's a war that has been going on for the past more than 30 years. Because what I just gave you there is a brief idea of when it started, when it started getting worse, but it's something that started way earlier, okay? It's a war that's been going on for more than 30 years. The international community is aware of this, and yet they are not doing anything with regard to this. So they are basically playing hypocrites. What they do is that, okay, they recognize the fact that there is the M23 which is in the region. The United Nations lately stated that Rwanda is actually supporting the M23 and that the M23 are not making the decisions on their own, but they're actually being moved and led by Rwanda. And yet there are no sanctions taken against the Rwandese government. In other words, the international community isn't doing anything because they're also involved. Why am I saying that they're involved in what's happening in Congo? Look at a contract. We call it a Memorandum of Understanding on Sustainability Raw Material Value Chain, which was basically a contract between Rwanda and the European Union. So in this contract, Rwanda is supposed to supply some raw materials for sustainability purposes, okay, to the European Union. But the funny thing or the strange thing is the fact that these resources that Rwanda is supposed to supply to the EU, it doesn't have them. Basically, Rwanda doesn't have any natural resources, and yet it has a contract with the European Union of supplying these natural resources in millions of tons every year. So now the big question is, where are they going to get these natural resources or these raw materials from? It's evident. Basically, they are trying to create the population migration, so to move out from that area, okay, to create crises within those regions where those natural resources can be found so that they can easily go and get them at almost no cost and then sell them to the EU at a very low cost. So they are deeply involved in this crisis in Congo, okay, which is being led by Rwanda, okay, and that's why the Rwandese army is even extremely weaponized, okay, it's extremely armed, well trained, and that because they're getting support from outside of Africa. Okay. This is something that need to be known by at least everybody. So there's not only one player, but there are multiple other players, big players involved in the war in the eastern part of Congo. Okay. We're talking about the EU, right? The European Union. But what is the African Union doing in all this? Because I haven't mentioned it, right? Basically, the African Union isn't doing anything. I don't want to say the word, but it isn't doing shit. Since the war started up to now, nothing has been stated from the African Union. No condemnation, okay? No sanction has been done with regard to what Rwanda is doing to Congo. And basically, I think at least they could have created, a coalition whereby it could deploy its military forces, at least to seize the killing that's happening, the massacre that is happening in this part of Africa. But nothing is being done up to now. Okay. So what the current situation, basically, as I stated again, the M23 or the Rwandese militaries are really moving, and they're now in the second city of Congo, which is the south of Kivu or the South Kivu, Bukavu. They're moving toward Bukavu. I believe by next week, if nothing is being done, they might be taking over the second city of Congo. So which will be a very critical situation, extremely hard to bear for the inhabitants in that region. But what is the Congolese government doing over this? Basically, from the moment I start following this situation up to now, because I got tired over the time, the Congolese government has been only announcing, okay, we're telling you that Rwanda is attacking Congo, and we want the international community to sanction them. That's what it has been doing for the past 3 years. Okay. But what it's rather supposed to be doing is to train its military, because the military aren't trained properly. That one thing. They aren't equipped. They are not properly paid, because how can you explain that a military who is basically risking his life or giving his life for his nation is being paid less than 50 euros per month while you're risking your life? And in the country, you see some deputies, okay, so member of assemblies being paid up to 30,000 in such a poor country. What a contrast considering what's happening in the country. So it's really a pity to see how the government is working within that region. But at the same time, I believe that the government isn't doing anything to really help the situation. So there is a lot that needs to be done. But again, I don't want to get too much involved into okay, what has to be done and whatever, because that's not the main topic of this video. I just want to inform for those who are interested. I want to inform you of what's happening in Congo. If there is some part that you couldn't understand in this video, please let me know in the comment section below. I know the video is quite long. I'm going to see if I could reduce it as much as possible. And if you're able to learn something through this video, of course, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and activate the notification bell so that you will not miss out the next video that I'm going to upload on this YouTube channel. Don't forget to also leave your comments. Okay, we'd like to read from you. If there's something that I stated which isn't right, please let me know in the comment section. After all, we're all here to learn from each other. For those who would like to know further about the sources of whatever that I've stated in this video, I'm gonna leave some links to different articles, so please feel free to check it out. The rest, I'm gonna see you in the next video. Take care of you. Bye bye.